As you know, the third stage of the backward design process is curating content. For many developers, this stage of the backward design model tends to be the easiest stage of the process. Granted, easy does not necessarily mean less work. On the contrary, the curating content stage generally involves the most amount of work. When I say easy, I am referring to the fact that most developers find the curating content stage to be the most natural. Finding appropriate texts and reading materials, constructing learning activities, building worksheets, and so on are the things that educators do on a routine basis. Curating content is the area that educators are generally most skilled. During the third stage of the backward design process, several things are gathered and or created. The content, things like reading materials, videos, etc., is assembled and or created. Learning activities are designed and built. Formative assessments are generated as well. Although the graphic on the screen shows these things as three separate items, they are all part of the curating content stage. It is important to note that curating the content also involves aligning the materials to the competencies. In particular, the content needs to align with the summative assessments, which are directly aligned to the sub-competencies for the course. Alignment is critical to ensure that the learning activities lead students to show what they know on the corresponding assessments. Throughout our discussion of backward design, we have been using the word curate to describe the content stage in the process. Curate is a specially chosen word because of its connotation. The definition of curate suggests that the third stage of the backward design process is more than just identifying materials to support learning. For example, a textbook may be needed to support student learning, but curating implies that the developer needs to carefully think about how that textbook should and will be used by the student. The developer might determine which specific chapters need to be read and in what order. The developer might identify which features of the textbook are the most useful in supporting the learning needs of the student. Curating suggests that the developer determines how the textbook should be used beyond simply being read. This same idea applies to all of the content resources that are gathered and or created. With the definition of curate in mind, here are some tips to consider as you jump into the third stage of the backward design process. First, more is not always better. Although it is important to provide students with a variety of materials and to cater to the wide range of learning styles that students bring to the table, adding more content to a course does not always do the trick. It is important to strike a balance when it comes to the amount of the content that is presented to the student. If too little content is provided, students may struggle with acquiring the necessary knowledge or skills. If too much content is provided, students may become overwhelmed and frustrated. It is important to try and find the best materials that will support student learning. Curating suggests that the best content is assembled and presented to the student. Second, be consistent in how you organize the materials for your course. Clear and consistent organization will help students successfully navigate the content, find the materials they need, and access the intended learning. There are multiple ways in which content can be organized. Choose an approach that works for you and for your content, and stick with it. This will help to ensure that the student learning experience is high quality, effective, and positive. Third, try not to rely solely on a textbook when curating content. Although there are good textbooks out there, the learning experience for students should go beyond reading a textbook. Technology has made it possible to incorporate other media into the learning experience. Capitalize on other resources to help enhance the learning experience. Incorporate other learning activities to allow students to access content in different ways. If a textbook is used in your course, just remember that it is important that the competencies for the course should drive your design efforts. Try not to let the structure of the textbook drive the course design. Remember that the textbook should be a resource to support the curriculum. The textbook itself is not the curriculum. As you prepare content for your course, remember that you are not alone in the development process. If you need help or have questions or simply need a sounding board for refining ideas, be sure to reach out. The curriculum development team is available to provide support. The instructional design team is available to answer questions. Your colleagues are also great resources to learn from and to share ideas with. Use the support that is around you as you curate the content for your course, and be sure to reach out at any point with questions or needs. Best of luck as you engage in the content curation stage of the backward design process.